What up, gamers? This is HBN1 here with more Bloodborne news. This is an exclusive interview with Hayataka Miyazaki with Martin Robertson from Eurogames. Mr. Miyazaki said, just to make everything clear, he tells a small audience assembled at Sony's booth to see Bloodborne, his recently announced PlayStation 4 exclusive. This is not a sequel to Demon's Souls. After seeing the game in action, Miyazaki's clarification comes across as perhaps a little unnecessary. Yes, this is a third-person action role-playing game, complete with thunderingly impactful combat in a delicately entwined world, but it's also a departure from the medieval melancholy of Kingsfield's Demon's Souls and Dark Souls. There's melancholy here for sure, but it's a more toxic, brooding kind. The shadows here are blacker, the blood flowing more freely. Bloodborne set in Yarman, an imposing, sprawling city that with its virtuality is something of a deeply gothic 19th century Edinburgh to it. Miyazaki won't be drawn on comparison though. He admits they do exist for fear of upsetting inhabitants of the cities. They have inspired him with his dark, diseased vision. It's a grim, although it's intricately inspired the same level of awe as Firm Software's other fantastical situations. Hidden pathways, unlock shortcuts, while you're often granted fresh perspectives on paths previously traveled as you explore new parts of the city. It's a city gripped by disease, as told by the coffins that line streets and the infected that stalk its dark corners. Yarman's bleak architecture reflects Bloodborne's downbeat premise. The city was known for a medical remedy, attracting the afflicted who are now permanent citizens, often unaware of the horrible plight that still consumes them. It's a city in an exquisite detail. The legacy of the Souls games is evident in how fully formed Bloodborne's aesthetics is. It's also evident in a frame rate that makes some dramatic plunges from time to time, but the fidelity makes it feel like a clear generational leap. Clock towers glow orange on the horizon, while stonework glistens with an imposing damp, painted thickly with gargoyles and etchings that all help make Yarman an agricultural wonder. Some of that darker philosophy shows in the characters decked here in a flowing coat that over the course of the demo soon becomes drenched in blood. Miyazaki's games have never shied away from violence, of course, but in Bloodborne's it's a more tangible, more sickening force that makes for an atmosphere somehow bleaker than the Soul series. I want players to feel that every fight could be their last one, said Miyazaki. You're going to see a lot of blood splattering. When you face an enemy, you're going to face death. You'll constantly face terror and horror. The added emphasis on violence extends to a play style that's another departure from what's gone before. In Demon's Souls, you are equipped with a sword and a shield, so you can seek out an area and take a passive approach, explains Miyazaki. But we're going to switch that up from passive to not aggressive so much, but more proactive. As such, there's no shield in Bloodborne. Instead, you're dual-wielding weapons that themselves have dual purposes. In your right hand is a sword that doubles up as a cleaver, transforming from one form to another form with a flick of the wrist. The act of transformation is an attack in itself, suggesting that the shotgun in your left hand acts as a cheap ranged weapon, but adds a perfect flourish to pepper off a counterattack. The emphasis might be on the offensive, but it's been complemented by a deepening of the strategic options at hand. Enemies, too, have more nuance. The diseased villagers that patrol the city have broader behavioral patterns. A mob of them may converge in the towns where, working together in a hunt, before the familiar ring of a town bell will send them back out again on their own individual paths. It makes for a more organic more emergent place to explore. Enemies no longer simply spawn, it seems, but rather patrol the city according to their own internal logic. There's tragedy to that logic too. Their behavior, part of some ritual the citizens of Yarman are unwittingly locked into. Unraveling exactly that ritual relates to Yarman's own history is of course one of the core pleasures that built into Bloodborne, and like Drain Lake or Jordan before, this is a location steeped in enigmas. There are others more straightforward enigmas surrounding Bloodborne right now too. At one point, you chance upon an NPC locked in combat, and aiding them will grant you a little assistance when you face off the area's boss, a hulking hybrid of Pan and a werewolf dubbed the Cleric Beast. As to how exactly the progress of fighting alongside other players will work, Miyazaki's Koi, the key concept or phrase that we have right now, is an open, explorative community, is all he gave away. While many of Bloodborne's systems are taken directly from the Soul series, some remain absent, for now at least. The demo runs without a UI, although each failed enemy sees a familiar wisp emerge from their corpse and enter the player's body. And thanks to invincibility being enabled for this demo, player's death isn't encountered once. The death penalty and the concept, I don't want to make it such a heavy thing, ponders Miyazaki. It's there, but I don't want it to cause undue stress. Bloodborne's a fascinating proposition then, a clear continuation of the themes established by Miyazaki, while a departure that's relentlessly, almost impossibly grim. It is all perhaps a little too dark. There's no cause for alarm, it seems, as Bloodborne will stay true to another of the director's other more unsung traits. One of the core concepts that I've had, even with Dark Souls and Demon Souls, is my mission, and my goal is to make a very beautiful game, he says as the demo draws to a close. I know a lot of people have a hard time believing it when I say those words, because that's not the first thing that comes to mind. I always believe that there's a beauty in darkness, and so with Bloodborne, I feel like the darkness is darker, which makes the beauty is going to rise, and you'll be able to really see that beauty out of the darkness. Well, that's it, gamers. If you want to know more about Bloodborne, the link is in the description box below. This is Ichiban1 here saying, later gamers, I'm out.
PlayStation